Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to our B2B marketing roundtable. We're going to give everyone just a minute or so to just kind of get in, but I'm here with Ky Shaw, the founder of DemandOS. Is it DemandOS or DemandOS? It's DemandOS, right?
DemandOS,
Yeah,
DemandOS. Yeah.
DemandOS. Yeah, I was going to say DemandOS, and that was not going to roll off well. And we're super excited to talk performance marketing plays with you all. We got three examples of like cold hard ones that we've run that work that we've shown that work, and then we got some other ideas as well. We also have a lot of the kind of pretext and setup as well that you're going to want to cover before kind of going into an effort like that. But really, this is supposed to just give you guys some ideas going into this quarter and in the next quarter. And really, a lot of these things are plays that you could run in the next couple of weeks. So really excited to run through that. I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself real quick, your background in performance marketing, um, and
Yeah.
also what you're doing at DemandOS. You can do that while I share screen.
Cool. Yeah. Actually started my career in sales, which I guess is why I have a proclivity towards performance marketing and instead of brand. So I get that I get that every now and then. And then started marketing really with LinkedIn ads back in like 2017 for a large HR company. Matt, you and I crossed paths at Gravy for a while. That's where we really started running some of these plays. Like we were running gift card campaigns in like 2020,
Mhm.
2021.
We're
And
also doing SDR outreach through Instagram, and we're doing some wild stuff.
yeah, we were doing anything and everything to get points on the board. So that was a fun time. And then spun off and started a demand gen agency. And took a lot of inspiration from the Refine Labs model. We worked with a little bit earlier stage companies, and then as of last year, we've pivoted hard into product. So we took a couple internal tools and spun those out as a LinkedIn optimization platform. So handling bidding, audience management and analysis. So we're not pumping in the audiences, but what people do is take like their sixth senses, their primers, and take a look at like how those are actually delivering against each other to find their right audience. And so that's what we're up to now is mostly just software and then analyzing how spend is going across. We have almost 40 million in spend that we have access to. So
Awesome. All right, let's walk through these plays, man. So we got
yeah,
three like use cases. I also am curious if anyone here like kind of actually want to workshop a couple also. So if anyone here is running performance marketing plays or is in planning for one, and we'd like if anyone wants to volunteer themselves for a campaign that they're doing or are in planning, like we'd love to walk through that with you
yeah.
and help you.
Preferably, so I prefer to work with non uh marketers as an ICP. Like I kind of market to marketers now, but a lot of our business is like supply chain, logistics, medical, like healthcare. So it would be interesting if there's people that have like, hey, I'm not marketing to marketers. Like, does this actually work?
Yeah.
Not marketing to marketers, because that is some things sometimes I hear that. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's go to the goals for today.
Yeah, let's go for it, man. Go for it.
All right, so let's go over three plays that are working right now. You've definitely heard them. My goal is to just get you to try them, and so I think we're going to try to like crawl, walk, run of like how do we set up a simple test to get this going. A couple frameworks on sales alignment, and then structuring an offer. And then, like I said, it would be great to do a live example from the audience.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Cool. So let's start with some disclaimers and assumptions because I think it's important to know like where we're coming from when we talk through performance marketing because there's definitely a few things that absolutely need to happen in order for this stuff to be successful. And I'll go through this, Kai, and you can definitely jump in if you have anything.
Cool.
But one is like you have to be tightly coordinated with sales. Typically, you want to work with like one or two SDRs or AEs when you're doing an effort like this, just so you're super tightly coordinated. You can create the feedback loop for yourself. You can also commit yourselves to the same to the same service level agreement and hold each other to it. and you can get that kind of iterative feedback to improve on the ads pretty rapidly. Other thing is these plays are always situation dependent. So like when we go through them, like these have worked for Ky in his situations, for instance, but they may or may not work for your particular market. Doesn't mean they're not worth trying. It just means that they might not work, and you may need to think of other performance marketing plays to run. Um, we're assuming low brand recognition here, although there's plenty of use case for high brand recognition companies to also run performance marketing, as we'll show when we get to the understanding your market section. And then the other assumption is that you need pipeline now. Like you're not getting it through direct channels. They're not coming through organic. You know, some of your other programs are not working. You're not seeing even, influence attribution through other aspects either. Like you need pipeline now. It's got to be direct. You got to show impact. So those are the assumptions that we're rolling with there. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think
No.
no, we'll get into aligning with sales, and we
Yeah, go for it.
like I think everyone hears this. You hear it on LinkedIn, you hear it. I hear it in private conversations. Like we don't need to turn this into aligning with sales webinar, and we can air those
I don't want to
grievances.
do that.
We can air those grievances later. But how I like to frame this is frame it with your sales leader as a pipeline activation project. So like, hey, we're not going to do this big like strategic company wide, like we're changing our entire strategy. Let's just like, how can we MVP this as a pipeline activation project? Get 1 to 2 SDRs or AEs that you're going to be talking with a few times a week to stay tight on how the leads are being handled, how the conversations are going, are people responding, and syncing with them after every call to make sure that that you can change, like you can change the offer on the front end if you're getting the wrong people, if they're showing up with the wrong expectations, and then time box it. Like it doesn't need to be this, like I said, big company shift in how we go to market. Let's just carve out a little piece of our time to run a strategy that we think may or may not work, but we think more likely to work if we really nail our market. And so I think the next slide we have the kind of
Yeah.
activation charter that I've used before, and we can drop the link in. Maybe Stephanie, we can drop it in, and people can just make a copy of it. But
Yep.
it'll go through. It just kind of goes through. Again, I don't think we need to make it a sales alignment call, but it goes through how to set this up. Because if you don't set this up at the front end, then what ends up happening is leads fall off, people don't respond. If the first few come in that are not perfectly ICP, then you lose credibility. Where you
Yeah.
want to establish up front, like, hey, we're working together to activate pipeline, and it's okay if a couple aren't perfect ICP. Like let's iterate together. And so it's all about getting you and sales on the same side of the table without making it feel like a giant overhaul of the go-to-market. So understanding your market, like I think it's really important, and this kind of speaks to like this may or may not work in your market, but it's important to understand where you are between novel solution and competitive market. And when you have a novel solution, you don't really need as much direct response. You can run really creative brand plays, product marketing, like just show the product, people will get it and they will convert. You see someone like I saw the former Refine Labs, MJ Smith, yesterday posted about their VP of demand gen role. They have 45,000 people on the wait list. Like they have a novel solution in a very niche market.
Mhm.
And so they don't have to run as much direct response. So something like a Clay, right? Like everyone understands this unique functionality that you didn't get previously with ZoomInfo or Apollo or some of the other people that they're going up against. And then in competitive markets, you have people like Ramp, like Rippling, like Bill.com that are running, even ZoomInfo that are running direct response, heavy direct response offers, because these are competitive spaces. And sometimes you just need to get people on the phone. So I think it's important to understand this. And I'd ask the audience, like, where does it feel like your product sits? And just getting real with where you stand in the market and how competitive it is.
All right, let's run through some rules for direct response ads real quick. I think this is super interesting as well because like companies like Ramp and Rippling obviously have fairly high brand recognition in their space. And despite it, like, you still need more direct response just because that space is super competitive. So just because you have brand doesn't necessarily mean it can carry you through the day without needing a good reason to convert either. So I think this,
Yeah, it's definitely not either or.
yeah,
But these teams are sending millions of cold emails. They're running incentivized demos, like they're running downloadable assets, like
yeah,
they're running all of that and brand on top. So it's definitely not an either or. Um,
yeah.
but when you're in a more competitive market, you do need to dial up the direct response.
100%. Okay. So let's put some rules for direct response in. So one thing that I think is should be obvious because if you're going to get your sales team to align with you and work with it and work with you closely on it, you guys need to agree on and align on that named account list. You can use KeyPlay, use Clay. If you use Apollo, ZoomInfo, whatever, like have it, but make sure that you are in lockstep with your with the SDR, the AE that you're going to be working with on that account list. Manually bid at all times. You want to control your bids in auction. If you do max delivery, you're going to use a ton of budget that you don't necessarily have to in order to reach people. This is especially true if you're going to run things like the leadership ads or static image or document ads or things like that. Conversation ads tend to be on a unit basis, even if you run max delivery, fairly inexpensive, but still would recommend manually bidding on that. Don't be afraid of lead gen forms. Lead gen forms are part of reducing the friction for your prospect to actually convert, and then allowing you to make sure that you have tracking and can run that really fast follow up with your sales team. And then warmer cold audiences in most cases doesn't matter. Kyle, I'll let you
Yeah.
expand on that a little bit because there are use cases where you probably will really prefer a warm audience to a cold audience, but in some aspects it's not as important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking to the assumption that you need pipeline now, and so I think it's easy to add a bunch of constraints, like unnecessary
Yeah.
constraints of like, hey, well, we don't have a huge warm audience, so I don't know if this is going to work on the cold layer, and like I hear this in conversations, and at the end of the day, we just need to get campaigns. At some point, we need to get campaigns out the door and in front of customers, and see if they're going to resonate with what we have to say. And then on the manual bid piece, like again, like if you're approaching this as a carve out of your wider strategy, you don't want to necessarily change your entire strategy. Manually bidding can help you just be that much more efficient with your delivery, especially if you're not allocating a ton of budget to
Yeah.
this.
Cool. All right, let's run through the first offer.
Let
And
me address. Brittany just asked
oh,
a question about where to
yeah.
start on manual bids. You'll hear there's a ton of expert opinions on this, somewhere between 50 and 100% of the lowest bid. I usually just start at the lowest number, the lowest bid number that
That
they
they recommend.
recommend,
Yeah.
and then turn off enhanced bidding or optimized clicks, and then look at your daily spend versus your daily budget. And so if your daily budget is overspending, you might need to pull the bid down even more. And if your daily budget's underspending, you might need to raise the bid. So that's how I would approach it. Content offer, right? So like we've all heard content offers, give value, give value, give value. Okay, what does this actually look like? And I started like thinking through this framework back in the gravy days. This is like 5, 6 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, and so let's go. Yeah. So much content that you see is this 101 level content. I went to a couple large brands. You go search for their resources, you go to their blog, and it says, what is marketing attribution or what is accounts payable software? That's not really actionable. And that content is going to struggle to convert into deals, or even the state of accounts payable software. Like that's going to struggle to convert into deals because you're not really targeting a specific job line in a job description. So I try to get people to avoid the blogs, white papers, ebooks mindset and target a specific line in a job description of something you can give them to solve their problem. So I think it's easy, like solve an upstream problem for free. That's great. Okay, but what does that actually look like? So pick a a specific line in the job description. I think slide 10, we can kind of show this
Yeah,
problem solution framework.
yeah, go for it.
So I think this is an old Russell Brunson
Click,
framework.
click funnels.
Yeah, this might be like an old ClickFunnels, like old school, like 2010. But I found it to be very helpful in framing how we think about where our content sits in the mind of the customer.
Yeah.
So problem, solution, new problem, new solution, or our solution. And so, like in the context of this webinar, we need more pipeline from our marketing campaigns. Solution, here's 3 plays that are working. New problem, our team doesn't have the capacity. New solution, maybe we should talk to Refine Labs. And most of your content should sit in that first solution bucket that solves something upstream of your product. So you don't need like, here's all the reasons why you should talk to a marketing agency, or here's the 5 questions to ask your marketing agency. Because first of all, everyone has that content.
Mhm.
But second of all, it doesn't really help them. It helps I guess it helps them hire a marketing agency, but that's rarely a line in a job description of go hire a marketing agency. One of the lines in the job description is
Produce
generate
pipeline.
marketing source pipeline.
Yeah.
Um, and so sitting in this first solution bucket and focusing your content there can help be a nice frame for how that works.
Yeah. I think one thing that's also key on those solutions when we talk about where most of your content should sit is just how actionable that content should be. Like you should be able to take that and be able to action something in your jobs to be done off of it immediately, instead of it just being this kind of really wide ball of wax that you really can't necessarily take action on to create a new problem for yourself.
Yeah, like the goal for today is like you sit on this webinar, you leave to this afternoon and you start working on a campaign. You schedule a meeting with your sales leader and you get your pipeline activation project going, right? Like we're giving you things that you can actually handle today. So it's a bit meta, but I think it's a helpful framing for and like I said, we can go through an example with someone live at the end if we want.
Yeah, I hope someone does volunteer. All right, this thing is super key in my opinion, this conversion components bank, because this really helps frame how you work with sales and how you actually sort of frame this up for yourself to go attack the issue.
Yeah, so you want to fill out obviously these four pieces: customer role, who are we talking to, and then the second piece is like, again, what line in the job description are we impacting and what problem are they having with it? Like this gets very clear. This is not a persona that are the VPs we target like to take their dog on walks on the weekend. Like here's exactly the problem that these VPs are having. Here's the line item on their job description. And then
Mhm.
what are the 3 best options that people try in most cases before they buy a software or a service solution? And so is it an Excel spreadsheet? Cool. Can we give them a better Excel spreadsheet? Is it a Notion template? Cool. Can we give them a better Notion template? Is it what are the 3 options? And then what are the fatal flaws in those 3 options? And you should stopgap that.
Yeah.
I'll like to the point of these content offer slides. I think a lot of people say here's like you should give value, give great content, and then they don't give you the components that go into
They don't give you
actually
value or great content.
they don't give you the components to help you actually brainstorm what that content piece should look like.
Mhm. Yeah, the idea of solving the upstream problem to me is like a really great kind of way to think about doing your content like this, literally to that job description. Because when you think about the things they're trying to solve for, it usually comes back to that. So I love this components bank just because it's very actionable, it's super clear, and it really details the understanding of what it is you're trying to accomplish with a play like this. So we got some examples on the
Yeah,
next slide with a couple of like, here's how you would do this for certain examples. So like there's the
yeah.
HR and payroll SaaS one where the
Mm.
upstream problem is we're growing, but I'm wasting my whole week manually running payroll and tracking PO or tracking PTO, excuse me. And then what are the 3 options that you would think about or that they would use to solve that for themselves? Like they would use a manual tool or a simple tool, or they would just do nothing, complacency, right? So the manual would be using this giant error-prone spreadsheet. A simple tool would be using a cheap consumer grade payroll tool, or doing nothing. Would just be keep doing it manually with their spreadsheet and hope they don't make a costly mistake. And then what's key here is you find a flaw in each of these. So you find the flaw in option one is it takes 10 hours and you're terrified of tax non-compliance. Or the flaw in the simple tool is it can't handle the B2B complexities that your product can solve for. Or in three, it's, sometimes it just comes back to ego, man. It's like I am a CEO making, 300,000, 400,000, even more than that a year, and I'm doing, minimum wage admin work, or at least it feels like that. So the option you can create here on the with the content offer would be like the better lead magnet. So like, and this is not just some like 10-page, 20-page thing. You're talking about a compliance checklist that you can that is applicable for every single state. So the new hire compliance checklist for every state, like the exact forms, I-9, W-4, state withholding that you would need for your new hire. So if you're looking at an example like in the HR payroll SaaS, like this would be a way to frame this for yourself in terms of like running through the upstream problem, what they use, what the flaws in those are, and then that hopefully leads you into, well, what can I make that can be 10x that value that I can use as a play.
Yeah, and I think like signals are a big topic of conversation right now. There's all these signal providers that are popping up, and I think someone downloading assets like these it's signaling that they have a problem that's related to your product. Whereas the state of HR payroll or the state of HR doesn't necessarily signal anything. They could just be interested in keeping up with the industry. Like their problems could be solved by another payroll provider. They're just interested in seeing the data of what other HR leaders are saying.
Mhm.
And so I think the important piece is like, does the content, if sales sees like, yes, I want to talk to every single person that needs a new that downloaded our new hire checklist, or on product management, like, yes, I want to talk to everyone who's struggling with standardizing product feature requests. Like you want the conversion to be interesting enough for sales to say, yes, if someone downloads that, I absolutely need to talk to them. Where it's less of a signal when you're talking about more of these top of funnel awareness, kind of state of industry type plays.
Right. And then the real important thing on this is the follow up and how you frame the follow up and talk through it. So go ahead, because I know that this is something that you work on a lot, Ky.
Yeah.
Things you want to talk through on this one.
Yeah, like I really like champion targeting here instead of going after like the everyone wants to target VP, C-suite. At least that's what I hear is like,
Decision maker.
we sell to the C-suite. But I think it's better to actually target again the line in the job description of the person that has this problem. And then getting the champion engaged. And then obviously this requires deep customer understanding. Like you have to understand out of the 10 things in a job description, for a head of payroll or a head of HR compliance, like which ones actually have a ton of pain and which ones don't, and build content around that. And then quick sales follow up, like within 5 minutes, sales needs to be reaching out.
Yeah.
I think this gets a bad rap. Like you see SDRs shamed on LinkedIn more than a couple times a week. And you see people, hesitant to download things, mostly because there's not that intent, right? Like I just want to download the state of XYZ report. I have no intent on buying this product. And so then sales is reaching out and there's no intent because the software doesn't match the upstream problem. But when your content matches an upstream problem, it's easy to assume like, okay, hey, you downloaded our new hire compliance checklist. Like, curious if I can show you how we can onboard employees in less than 4 minutes. And then add some guarantee. Like, we'll guarantee you stay compliant or you don't pay. And the guarantee should be framed in such a way that it doesn't add additional risk to your business, but it makes the prospect feel more likely to book the meeting.
Right. It basically it de-risks the time commitment for them. And then the other thing is that you make it a low time commitment for that prospect. And if you're doing it quickly, especially if that content really matches the offer and what you all sell to do that to solve that upstream problem, this can definitely be a really successful play. overall. So
Yeah, I think so. You know, you want to make sure the lead routing is fast. I mean, there's a ton of solutions around this. Chili Piper, Default. I'm sure there's others. Uh, Tracking positive replies. So making sure that you're tracking this in either like a HubSpot campaign or a Salesforce campaign. And then reiterating on the first call, like, hey, how did you hear about us? Just to confirm. And you're going to get some insights back, like, oh, I really liked the new hire checklist. Like it actually helped me do X, Y, or Z. That takes me to can you jump to slide 16?
yeah, yeah.
Because like these are things that you should start to hear is like, oh, your template helped me solve Y. Thank you. Even if they don't buy, like their ICP, their they might already have a solution in place, but you help them solve a problem. When their renewal comes up, they might reach back out. Or two, like I read everything you guys write, or I'm trying to find a way to bring you guys in. We're still in a contract with someone else. Like these are the things your sales rep should start hearing if your content is solving a problem in their job description.
We had a quick question from Duke. Do you want to adjust that question now?
What are
Um,
the better signals for
yeah.
sales to use? I'm not sure I quite understand the question. What are what are the better?
Duke, you can come on. We can bring Duke on if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
I see him
yeah.
there. He's on camera.
Thanks, Ky and Matt. So my question was more so around when you were talking through the SDR approach of, oh, somebody downloads this content and they're not ready. My question was, if you do have a sales team that is going to be using that type of approach, what are the types of account scoring models that you should use? Or are you saying that's not even the right approach? It should be when they're ready and they've consumed the amount of content, they'll let you know.
Well, I think the content, depending the content can signal intent. I guess my point is that
Okay.
some of the top of funnel content or a lot of the top of funnel content that's created today, like the state of type reports or the 2026 report doesn't necessarily signal intent around a pain problem that they're having in their day-to-day job. Whereas a new hire checklist or the 10-minute product feature request template signals that they're trying to solve something. Now it's not perfect. I'm not saying 100% of those people, and but the signal is stronger than just kind of a broad industry survey or report, because a lot of us are just interested, right? Like I'm sure we've all downloaded. I want to hear what these 500 marketers had to say about performance marketing this year, and I have no intent on ever buying that product. I just want to know what they're saying.
Sure.
Whereas if they have a specific template and things that I need to do my job, I think it signals higher intent. So outside of this play, like I think technographic is really strong, like particular, like using like a built with or a Wappleizer type tool to get adjacent tools. Like we target people that are on 6sense because we know that they're using their audiences inside of LinkedIn ads and they might want to compare them. So like I think using technographic, if you don't have a content play, can be a great signal. Number of people in the department, I think Clay does this really well. Like we've
Yeah.
used that before. How many people are in marketing, or how many people are in product management? Like those can be certain signals as well. And you want to stack them. Like ideally you're stacking them, and you're not just doing every company between 1,000 and 5,000 employees.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Duke.
Okay, so going back to the conversion follow-up, just making sure that lead routing is seamless and fast. Like that first touch, if we go back to that SLA template, we're talking 5 minutes, like to kind of make sure that touch point happens. Because obviously, if you're matching the content offer to an offer to sit down on sales, there should be a lot of context and it should be a through line for something like that. So that 5 minute that 5 minutes can make that offer and that sit down, especially if you have that kind of guarantee behind it, very relevant and powerful. Whereas in 24 hours, it might kind of lose its urgency or its relevance in the moment, right then and there. Like,
like they're experiencing, they just downloaded it. They have an issue
yeah,
with new hire. It's top of mind.
exactly.
Let's jump to
Well, you want to jump to the
number
free
2.
tool? Yeah, let's jump to free tool. All right.
Okay, free tool. take your content plays and turn them into free tools. I think the other way I like to frame this is like reframing an ROI calculator. You can go to slide 18.
Yeah. Go ahead. There's more spots here I gotta fix. Sorry. Go ahead. Walk through.
Reframe an ROI calculator. So everyone has an ROI calculator. It's always biased towards like, look how much money you're going to make with us. I think that's fine. Like, I think it's okay to include ROI numbers, but you usually want to back it up with like with a unique data set, and then answer a specific question they're already thinking about. So an ROI calculator deep in a sales process might answer the question for like a CFO of like, okay, hey, what's the ROI of this thing? But there's upstream questions that people want answered. So let's jump to 20.
Yeah.
Because just going back, I'm like hammering that again.
Yeah, just real quick though, you still want to do all this conversion components bank part of it before you kind of even get into building the tool. So this part, this little perfunctory slide here, this applies to almost any of the offers that we're creating here. So you'll see that across the tool, the content offer, and then the last one. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So reframing the ROI calculator, I think you still want to show the ROI. But like an example for a supply chain SaaS we did was like, what's a fair 3PL price at my volume? And then within that, you can show the ROI of like, here's the fair price without our tool, and here's the fair price with our tool. But here's the fair price. And you're answering a question because they're thinking through like, okay, I have all these 3PL vendors, like some of them are charging me this, some are charging me this, like what is actually a fair price? And this did over 300,000 in closed won business. I think there's still open deals around it. And then for us, like a question people ask is like, how big should my audience even be on LinkedIn? And then giving expected results. I spun this up on Vercel to show you that it's fairly, it can be fairly lightweight to vibe code these things. And then what I would do is just put a, like a HubSpot form in front of this and then embed this on a landing page.
Yeah.
Unique data really helps here as a campaign requirement. Like it for the supply chain company, they had a bunch of the 3PL data, so they were able to give you what the fair price was. And this is much like this is adjacent to the state of 3PL pricing in 2025. But
Right.
you're actually getting them to put in like, here's my volume, here's like it's more tailored to what they're doing. And you're able to get that, you're able to now approach the first sales call with like, hey, notice you're doing X in volume. Here's what our ROI calculator told you. Here's actually like and then, hey, we think we can do even better than that because we kind of soften the numbers on our ROI calculator. And again, quick sales follow-up here, and then resources to build this out. I use Vercel for a lot of these little one-off things. And if you're trying to be scrappy and do this as like a quick 90-day project, just throw a HubSpot form in front of this, and capture the leads that way.
Right. We'll talk about where to run this. So for something like this tool, you can run a thought leader ad with the video where the subject matter expert is like, previewing this almost. You know, that there's a lot of easy ways to run like kind of quick cut videos like that with the person. You see people do this all the time on LinkedIn. It's just a matter of how good is that content. You know, most people never have a problem when you see these thought leader ads with how they frame the offer. It's more with how disappointing the content is, or how, you know, or whether they even get it at all. Conversation ads are another really solid way to go communicate this. Again, cheap inventory, very good. You get a lot of sends. You can kind of really look at that from a performance marketing angle. And then single image ads is another one you could do. This is something that you could run with the lead gen form to get right to the tool if you wanted to, or you can have it click right through, have a quick pop-up form with HubSpot to Ky's point, and then have them access the tool immediately, give them something to download as well. And then hopefully you can get that record somehow yourself and be able to run your follow-up motion with it. So yeah. I think just to tie a bow on the free offer tool is like, you know, there's like, I mean, we are like the AI age right now, where like, you know, some people can actually figure this out using AI, and I don't want to ignore that elephant in the room. But really, what it comes down to when it comes to something like this is if you have that unique data set that you're able to layer into that for yourself, where you can really provide something unique that AI couldn't replicate by trying to get this kind of answer for themselves. Because you can ask that kind of question on ChatGPT and get an answer, but what you can't get is a unique data set behind it to give them a more contextually relevant answer that they could take with them. So it really comes down for something like this is having, getting that unique data set for yourself and being able to apply it to a tool like this so it can distinguish itself.
Yeah, and I think it adds a layer of social proof as well. Like,
Yeah,
hey, we've analyzed $2 billion of supply chain spend, and we'll tell you what the fair price is.
right.
So it adds a layer of social proof and credibility. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, let's talk about the kind of elephanty sort of one. Kai's eyes just got wide, but we were of course going to talk about the incentivized conversation ads because
I get a lot of flack for this.
Kai gets a lot of flack for this, but I do. But I watched Kai run this at Gravy and it basically printed money for the company. It was an unbelievable motion, and he was one of the earliest people that I know doing it. So this is basically like a Jedi Master talking about
There's other, yeah,
conversation ads. But go ahead.
and look, there's other people doing it that are doing it really well.
Yeah.
And they talk about it on LinkedIn that are spending a ton of money around it. I think go to the next slide. I ran a little
Yeah.
test ahead of this. We spent 2,500 on conversation ads, and we ended up closing 4 deals out of that. We still have 6 or 7 that are open. And it was just $105 gift card. And I think to address some of the concerns here, this was to B2B SaaS marketers. So everyone posts about it, how they don't like it. And I've gotten some flack for it. And so I wanted to know, okay, if I run this to a B2B SaaS audience that are advertising on LinkedIn, what's the response going to be? And it was overwhelmingly positive. Like the calls were rarely aloof or just showing up for the gift card, but it was structured in such a way that I think we highlighted the problem well enough. And so it's okay to give prospects a nudge. They're not going to find it off-putting. It takes so many impressions for people to even remember who you are. Offering someone money for their time is rarely going to leave a bad taste in their mouth unless you're just absolutely hammering them every single day. And I would highly recommend not doing that. But Ramp does this. I did a straw poll of 35 SaaS marketers that I know are also running conversation ads. And I had 3 people say that they didn't really work at the cost per lead that they needed or cost per deal that they needed. And the rest said, yeah, these are working really well for us. And so I think it's kind of like this, the forgotten stepchild of B2B advertising, but it can be a nice backstop, especially if lead volume is down quarter over quarter, and you really just need to put some points on the board, and you're getting a lot of pressure from your team. I think the important piece here is narrow ICP. You want almost 100% chance that if someone converts from this audience, we want to talk to them. And so I think the audience that I ran this against was 88,000 people. We had vetted how many LinkedIn ads they had run. We had vetted how many people were on the marketing team. We had vetted, I think we did last funding round. And so we had all these data points that okay, if someone in this audience converts, whether they're in marketing or not, we want to talk to this company. The second piece is, go ahead.
Oh, God, on the ICP. So you had an 88. Let's go through some of the details on that. So you had an 88,000 person audience, and it was a cold audience as well. Yeah, even though it was vetted.
Correct. Cold audience. Same audience that I have run thought leader ads to. So I recommend running one cold audience. Don't stack cold audiences until you really get LinkedIn running. But one cold audience. So they may or may not have seen some of my thought leader stuff. And so yeah, that's to answer your question. Cold audience.
Yeah. And you're going outside of marketing even as well, you said. So you're targeting, you know how many people are on the marketing team, but you're also looking at, I guess,
No, no, no.
oh,
No, I mean, I said it in, I meant in such a way that like, if someone outside of marketing at one of these companies converted, we would still want to talk to that company. Like that's
gotcha,
how you
gotcha.
should frame the account building. Um, but no, I think it was 90% plus marketing. Yeah, yeah.
How many accounts, out of curiosity, to get to the 88,000?
I think it was 4,000,
Okay, nice.
something around there. So some larger companies, and then some smaller companies. We didn't split them out. Like I didn't do any of the other hacky, like splitting out large companies, small companies. It just so happened like the 4 customers that did convert, I think the smallest one's like 43 people. The largest one is a few hundred. So
Okay.
Send it from a real person. Like I get, if any of you on the call go to your LinkedIn inbox, like I would send it from a real person, ideally the rep that they're going to be speaking with. And the way to do that is to just segment, if you have a named account list with your reps, like just separate the campaigns by rep. And that way there's some continuity between the message they get and the first person they talk to.
Yeah.
And then again, very quick sales follow-up. Like I just had them send it to a Calendly, but very quick sales follow-up.
Okay. Let's walk through the example you have here.
Yeah, so I frustrated with your like immediately call out the problem, I think is the important piece. And then like one sentence around what the product does. I'll give some of the detractors a bone here and say, look, we sell advertising software. So to use ads to sell advertising software, there is a bit of a nice like meta aspect to it. And then the PS, like I did like a guarantee, like I'm so sure that you're going to find this valuable that if you don't, I'll send you the gift card. You just send the gift card anyways.
Yeah.
But just double down. Like I'm so positive that you're going to find this valuable. I'm curious if anyone on this call has run incentivized demos and what their experience is, if you just want to drop it in the chat.
Or if you've gotten pushback on it.
Or if you've gotten pushback, or if you hate it, if you hate the idea. I'm also open to those. Yeah, on Meta. Yeah. Were you using Ryan, I'm assuming you were using a third-party account list vendor for Meta?
Cold audience. Okay.
No, yeah, but were you using were you using like Meta native targeting?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go deep in the weeds here. Ryan, I'll shoot you a text after. I'll shoot you a message after.
Yeah, it was native targeting. Okay, so let's talk through like a low risk way that you guys could actually run this. So
yeah, so
go ahead. No, go ahead. Run through it.
Yeah, I would start if you're already running LinkedIn ads, then start with a retargeting audience. Like they'll know that you exist. Send at least 1,500 messages. Monitor the meetings booked rate, and then pause it. Like and then see how the meetings. Yeah, Brittany. Yeah, really specific ICP is kind of the hidden gem here. Like the ICP targeting has to be really specific that the ad resonates well enough, or you're going to get people that are, because even if like you want people that get on the call that even if they're just fishing for the demo for the gift card, that there's such an ICP fit that some percentage of them will find the product interesting enough to open a sales conversation. And so if you get meetings booked after the 1,500 messages, then you can just turn them off and wait for that cohort to go through the sales process. And so at 1,500, like if you're targeting really senior people, this is going to cost you, $3,000, $4,000, but it should be anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,000, plus the gift cards.
Right.
Cool.
And then just in terms of some other performance plays, like we covered those 3 that work. There's some other ways that you could use. There are other offers. I mean, really, this comes down to when we talk about performance marketing is getting out of the chasm of how most people run performance marketing, which is either retarget to a demo or let's have a very low value content offer or even live event. So there's other things that you can do even within. There's just so many things you can do in terms of offers within that range that can be a segue to get a person into a sales conversation. So some other things that we've run, and I've done quite a lot of performance marketing for a couple other clients. We have I have one client in the medical device space where we run a lot of LMS direct response ads, and we use that to get them into a meeting with the principal scientist at that company, and then get them to demo the product. And we've had really nice success with that. So sometimes depending on your ICP, if it's a very technical audience, like my example is like something like an LMS where it's a low time commitment, and then having a good follow up on that with like the principal SME can be a really nice performance marketing play, and we've had good success with it. Another thing that I'm testing out now is a free pilot offer with combo ads. Usually we couch something like that. So it has to be like that. They have to fit a certain number. They have to fit a certain threshold to fit ICP. Like they have to have, like in this case, it's software testing. And so they have to have a certain number of tests and product releases that they have every year that require a certain number of quality tests to be done. And if they do, they can qualify for a free pilot. So normally, we're running something like that with that kind of play in mind. Competitive Google ads. Kai, I'm sure you've run a lot of this where you bid on competitors. I actually have one client in space where they bid on CRM, and they're not a big company, and it's extremely expensive to run CRM based exact match. So we actually have found it to be more competitive for them to run just straight up competitor Google ads against their primary competitors. The cost per click's lower, the cost per opportunity is lower as well, and it tends to still be really good ICP fit. You want to talk through
Yeah.
any that as well?
Yeah, I mean, when we were Gravy, we did competitor takeout ads, and then the offer in the thing was like, "We'll buy out your contract,"
Yeah,
was in the
that's right. We did
headline.
offer that. I remember that.
And so like if you can get the offer into the actual Google ad, it helps a lot. And then obviously you need continuity into the landing page, and then continuity from the landing page to the sales call. Like the rep needs to know that that's what ad they saw.
Yeah.
And like that goes back to the sales alignment. And so yeah, like competitive takeouts. I think the trade show association piece was like really interesting, Matt. I
Yeah.
haven't done it, but I think you're dabbling in it.
Yeah, I'm testing it now. It's super interesting if you're in a space where I'm doing this with a client where we can't do Google ads with them because what they sell runs afoul of the ad policy. So in order to do Google ads and run performance marketing and with paid search, like we're actually, instead of trying to target the commercial terms, which aren't really that relevant anyway, just because of the ICP, but we're actually targeting the trade associations that the ICP are members of, and that tends to be super low cost per click with decent volume, and almost nobody competes for it. So like you're basically sitting there on an island, the only person competing for that term. And it's actually been in terms of like in terms of what I've seen from the delivery aspect, it's been really interesting. I'm still really early in it, so I don't really have a lot of results with it yet. But
Yeah.
it's been, even in doing like my keyword research on it and presenting it to the client against like the commercial terms, it's so much more cost effective. And the competition's a lot lower.
Cool. We have like 8 minutes. Does anyone want to volunteer to do a
Yeah, come on,
live
somebody. I'm
example?
gonna volunteer Ryan if he doesn't come up. All right,
All right,
let's
let's
do
do
it.
a
Yes.
go to slide 28 and let's pick who are we selling to, Ryan? Give us a real live example.
Um, so
Who are you bringing this up to tomorrow? Like you don't have to give the actual name, but like the
the
industry.
uh the Google one industry is the restaurant industry.
Gotcha.
So think mom and pop diners, not huge conglomerations like Olive Garden or something like that, but they might have a couple locations in the city.
Mhm.
And so generally talking to the owner of it or the manager of the location.
And what line in their job description, an owner obviously has a ton, but like what responsibility of that role are you targeting? Do you impact?
Um, the line of job description is really food delivery and managing orders from multiple ordering platforms. So it kind of centralizes all of your orders into a single platform and gives you the ability to deliver in the area
Nice.
as well.
And competitive space, I think I've seen a few of those. Yeah,
The
fairly
competitive
competitive.
space.
Like
Oh
the
yeah,
the
it's
delivery aggregators.
yeah, you've heard of them. You've heard of
Yeah.
all their competitors.
Yeah. Okay, so like three best options. Like how often is there an incumbent, and how often are they like just watching receipts pop out of their out of their printer?
Sorry, restate the question.
How often are the customers that you're talking to, like, do they already have an aggregator in there and you're selling as like the better aggregator, or are you selling against the receipt printer and they're trying to manage all, and the receipt printer and the little iPad and everything? You know, I've been in the pizza shop where they have like five different ordering things.
Yeah, so usually they're taken over from someone else. They have a lower tier price. And so they're usually able to come in and win a competitor's business. They do have better success if a company doesn't have any platform at all and they're just manually doing it themselves.
Yeah. Um, I mean, this is more like because you're selling to small businesses, so it's like it's less of a LinkedIn play. I'm guessing you're doing a lot of meta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I would probably like my brain immediately goes to like a gift card, like for owners, because they're going to value their time much differently than like they will see the value, and like here's $100 gift card, especially if they're like mom and pop one or two shops. So my brain immediately goes there. But if you don't want to do that, I think it's some kind of like get like 100% in like, I'm assuming they'll handle all the integration themselves, and then you write some guide of like how to get off of an expensive how to get off of your expensive delivery aggregator, or it's some kind of like here's how much your delivery aggregator, like here's how much you're losing, here's how much profit you're losing to your delivery aggregator, some kind of calculator like that.
Yeah.
Even better if you can integrate directly into the system, so like have them log into it and like connect their POS, and then you can show like real data. Otherwise they can just do it as a calculator, but you're framing it as profit margin loss instead of ROI for your tool.
Yeah. That's actually good. That's actually good. Good way to frame it. That goes back to the upstream problem, right? Like, what is, if you're the manager, the owner, what's the main thing you're trying to solve for?
Yeah, like they're solving for profit, right? Like
Yeah.
they need operating cash
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
And then the other option, like if depending on if this is a venture funded company, is doing like a contract buyout. Like, hey, we will buy out your XYZ solution and we're going to give you a cheaper price and we're going to implement it for you. Like you stack them up, so it's like an absolute no-brainer. And if they're going for market share, then that works really well. If they're not venture backed, obviously that doesn't it's tougher to do that if you're bootstrapped.
Yeah. Unless you could do like, I mean, would you do something like a minimum commitment on something like that? Like I would assume if you're going to offer the buyout and all the other things, you'd at least want to do your
Yeah, I
commitment.
mean you'd have to get them into a like a 2-year contract, 3-year contract to make the LTV worth
Yeah,
it.
to make it work. Yeah.
Like you want to guarantee that you're at least break even, especially like even if you're venture backed. Like I think you would want 1-to-1. But those are kind of the
Yeah.
three ways I would approach it. I don't know if that's interesting or not, Ryan, if you found that helpful.
No, it's super interesting. This has been on my mind because I've been trying to go the gift card route, and I'll tell you candidly, we got a lot of garbage from just saying that it's a dollar value, especially on Facebook. How we went about getting there was we developed some content, and going through this presentation right now, I'm like maybe the content should have been better. Because now reading your slide, I think it was slide 16, where you're talking about upstream problems and where your content should live. I'm like, okay, maybe that's going to be, maybe that's kind of where the problem was. Because basically we created this content, put it behind a lead gen form, and basically we weren't really following up with everyone. We just wanted to see the quality of the people who were requesting to see it.
Mhm.
And we go,
Yeah.
okay, like we have this content, we have this lead gen form. This is a cold audience, but if we use these settings and this big audience, like owners and managers are coming in. So now we can go back to this audience with maybe a more of a bottom of funnel offer, like a incentivized demo. And what came out of that was a ton of leads that a lot of people were just kind of a lot of people were just lying on the forums, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate, right? So it's definitely a different thing than with the
And
inbox.
that comes to that back, like that goes to targeting really.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
replied
yeah.
to your message in the thread, like Resquared is a local like they have a ton of local business
Oh,
data.
nice. Oh, nice.
So you might want to try them out. There's a couple others I can dig up that I've used in the past. Because it is a different beast. And incentivized demos, like we probably should have made that more emphasized, Matt, is like incentivized demos really only work if you have just ridiculously tight ICP targeting. Otherwise, you're going to get tire kickers.
Yeah.
Like you just have to have a really, really tight audience. And it might just not be possible. Like, I don't know, Ryan, I don't know. I haven't sold into restaurants, so I don't know the data quality that exists. I see you've gone through a few of them, so a few vendors.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate the feedback. Definitely gonna check out this RE2 or RE squared.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Lariat, Pull Driver. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm surprised you guys have not looked at Primer yet as a source. I know Brittany commented on it. I think it would be good. I'm very successfully targeting surgeons using Primer right now. So like I know it can find people outside of SaaS.
Nice.
All right. Okay. So that was
Hopefully that
great to
was
get.
valuable.
That was super valuable. We got to definitely some questions on like, will this deck get shared? Will this leave behind thing be shared? The answer to those things are yes. Of course, we will share those things with you. Ky, man, I just am so happy to finally do an event with you because you and I have known each other for about,
Yeah.
was it been 7 or 8 years now? And we've
Yeah.
actually never collaborated on an event, even though we basically worked at Gravy at essentially the same time. I think we started a
Yeah.
month apart. And I'm first off just super proud of you as a professional and a peer for like where you've taken your expertise to launch a company. So I just want to give you your
Appreciate it.
flowers here in public on that.
Thank
Most
you.
of that, I just really want to thank you for sharing your expertise on performance marketing with everyone. I think a lot more people struggle with this than they care to admit. And I think that a lot of people struggle with it because they don't think they don't think it all the way through when it comes to the offer and the alignment that it takes. Like it takes effort and it takes work and it takes time and maybe it takes failing every now and then too in order to get there. But
I
but
guarantee you it takes failing to get
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I can actually guarantee that that not everything you put out will work.
yeah.
But if you just think through, like the only thing, like it's really like really tight targeting, and then especially for content and tools, like does this signal intent of a problem
Mhm.
that we solve? And so much of the content out there really signals like I just want to learn something interesting, and not enough of it signals I'm struggling with a problem.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. I
All right.
appreciate it.
That was
Thanks so
fun.
much, man. Thank you all so much for
Yeah.
attending. We will make sure that we send everything out here and we'll see y'all next month for our next event. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.